Hey Kendall, this is a response to your week 3 post. Not a bad post overall. A couple of thoughts I have as I'm reading through this. Good discussion of commodification. One of the things that occurs to me as I'm reading through some of your post and some of your classmates' posts about the videos, the news videos. So we have to have a discussion. We have to have a debate. There's a couple of things going on. Anytime that you have a news piece, you have to understand that decisions are made all the way up and down the chain. In other words, are we going to cover this? If we are going to cover this, who are we sending out to cover? Male, female, white, black, Hispanic, Asian. I mean, every decision is made. Once we get on the field, what are we going to shoot? Who are we going to talk to? What questions are we going to ask? All of these are decisions. Once we get it back into the station, how are we going to edit this? Is it going to be a funny story, a serious story? How are we going to do this? So decisions are made all the way up and down the line on this. Now, when we're talking about framing, and this is there's an entire realm of theory called framing theory, and this is the idea that we can position information in such a way as for it to be decoded, or more likely to be decoded in a certain way by the audience. This means that as these decisions are being made, they are more likely to be decoded, to be interpreted by the audience in a certain way. For example, in the Leprechaun video, it's entirely possible that that is framed in such a way as to perpetuate stereotypical ideas about African Americans. The Popeyes one is interesting, though, because while it is entirely possible that it could be framed in such a way as to be stereotypical, it's also entirely possible that it is completely innocuous, and just so happens that that one churches that ran out of chicken that they decided to cover just so happened to be in a largely black neighborhood, and it was completely innocuous, and any kind of stereotyping that we do, any kind of perceptions we have are just a result of stereotypes that already exist in our mind, and we're reading this into it, and in reality the decisions that were made were completely innocuous. Everything just kind of happened by chance, by happenstance. So as academics, we have to be very careful not to read our own biases into this, not to go looking for things, but rather to be careful with what we write into stories. All right, so that being said, I wanted to just address this, since you're not the only one that brought this up. Whitewashing is interesting. You brought up The Last Airbender with one of your classmates. I brought up Ghost in a Shell that was recent. Overall, not a bad discussion post. I would have liked to seen more references. Again, the more you can bring in, the stronger your arguments will be overall. The more references, the more support, the more evidence you can bring to the table, the stronger and stronger your arguments will be. That's not to say you can't use opinions, but your opinions carry more weight when you've got more people backing you up on this, okay? So try and bring that in the future, and I think you'll be fine.